A Way Out is an all-new game from the creators of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, a game that was fairly well received and had unique and interesting mechanics. And this game is certainly no exception to that. By forcing you to play in co-op only, it creates an entirely unique experience that relies on you and a friend working together to complete different tasks. Probably one of the coolest features of this game right off the bat is that you don't actually have to buy 2 copies of the game, despite the fact that it's co-op. You get a pass that you can send to a friend so that they can join you and play with you. You get the chance to choose which of the 2 different characters, either Leo or Vincent, you want to play as, both 2 very different characters with interesting backgrounds. The story focuses very heavily on the 2's relationship and what kind of motivations and commonalities they have on what they're trying to do and accomplish. In a lot of ways, this game reminds me in many ways of a Telltale game or Life is Strange. You've got a couple different choices you can make with different characters that don't really change the story massively, but can have slight deviations in how you get to the end result or how you get to the next chapter. For example, you'll oftentimes get the choice between taking either Leo or Vincent's path. Leo is much more aggressive, much more blunt to the point, whereas Vincent is a lot more slower and methodical in how his decision making is made. Sometimes these approaches can be better or worse in different particular situations. The actual mechanics of the game are pretty simple for the most part. There's a ton of quick time events, and they're actually done pretty well. Normally I don't like quick time events, but this game actually does a really good job of putting them together. And it does an amazing job at single cut scenes between you and your co-op partner doing a particular action while different QuickTime events come up. There's also a ton of different random side things that'll happen in the game. Like, for example, there's a part where one of you drives while the other shoots out the back. There's a particular part where you're both sitting on a boat trying to row. There's all sorts of just random, ridiculous scenes like this that come up in the game that completely switch the game on its head and give you new and interesting mechanics and keep the game feeling fresh. In a lot of ways, that's what makes this game so successful. It blends tons of different concepts together to keep the game feeling fresh and engaging and new all the time. There's constantly a new challenge. And this game in many ways feels like Uncharted, where there's just all sorts of crazy, ridiculous stuff happening all the time. And on top of that, the levels of this game feel very well thought out. Everything has a nice flow to it, every level connects fairly well, and for the most part, there's tons of stuff to do in each level. You've got all sorts of random mini games, like swinging a baseball bat to compete against your friend, or playing an arcade game against your friend, just weird distractions in the game, and then there's tons of different characters to walk up to and talk to. There's so much to do in each level, and it feels so packed. My only real complaint would be that this game sometimes doesn't seem like it knows if it wants to take itself seriously or not. This game is very cheesy, almost like Uncharted cheesy, where there's just corny, weird, kind of 80s action film stuff going on all the time, mixed in with these kind of moments of very seriousness. But it still comes together very well and coherent as a whole. As a whole, A Way Out is about 4 to 5 hours long, which is pretty good given that this game really only costs about $15 if you split the total $30 cost with a friend. The graphics of A Way Out are pretty darn good. The levels look really fantastic, the characters look great, the sounds are pretty good as well. Most of the voice actors are pretty decent, though there is a couple moments in particular where the dialogue falls a little bit flat, and you can kind of tell in the actor's delivery. Overall, A Way Out gets 8 out of 10. I really loved this game because it's a very unique and interesting experience that can only be played as a co-op experience with a friend. It's got a great story, a decent cast of voice actors, amazing level design, and sounds that really make this game feel substantive. There's no part in this game where the pace seems to come down to a point where it's painful. Everything feels very deliberate and thought out. And as a result, I would recommend this game highly.